Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Refined Savage podcast. You know how this works, guys. Let's do a little business before we get started. Viking coffee. It is that holiday season. The Viking coffee fan on your gift list is going to love everything you can get from Evan at Viking Coffee. We just got one of his candles in our latest subscription package. It's fantastic. I am not that much of a candle guy, but my wife loves it, and it smells really good. Not to mention the coffee. The coffee is out of this world. Old Man Strength, obviously my favorite, but their Santa's Little Helper is fantastic as well. So is all the rest of his stuff. Check them out at vikingcoffeeco.com. Use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout. Cerberus. Anyone out there who is involved in any kind of strength athletic should be checking out the Cerberus website, cerberus-strength.us. They have everything you need for your strength journey. Wraps, straps, belts, t-shirts, smelling salts, tacky, anything you could possibly want. Cerberus has it, and it's run by athletes. It's run by people just like you and me doing good things for the sport. Check them out. Again, cerberus-strength.us. Use the code REFINESAVAGE10 at checkout. Warrior CBD, if you have any kind of bumps, bruises, aches, pains, if you have a whacked out crazy dog, if you have trouble sleeping, if you have anxiety, Warrior CBD is the answer. Not all CBD oils are created equal. I promise you that. I've tried a lot of them out. Most of them are junk. I love Warrior CBD. It's fantastic. I love the people. I love the customer service. Check them out, warriorcbdofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout. The folks at Serious Steel are the best when it comes to equipment, when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to customer service. It's a big deal, guys. Again, another company run by people who are just like us. They are neck deep in strength athletics. Chad Clark, my boy, is working there. You guys know Chad. You know how awesome he is. Give these guys your business. SeriousSteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout. If you have any kind of gym needs, home gyms, commercial gyms, CrossFit gyms, if you need wraps, straps, stone sleeves, anything you need, check them out. Serious Steel. Stay Classy Meats. I am so psyched. We are getting towards the end of that 12-week cycle. Every 12 weeks, a beautiful box shows up at my house filled with beautiful meat from Stay Classy Meats, from animals raised in the Bozeman, Montana areas on small batch farms, eating the way animals are supposed to eat, drinking the way animals are supposed to eat, no hormones, just solid animals that are processed humanely and sent directly to your door so you don't have to go out to the grocery store. Their bison, out of this world. Their beef, incredible. Check them out at stayclassymeats.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. The breath belt. For those of you who have been using the breath belt, you know what I'm talking about. This thing is phenomenal. I am a big fan. When I first got this thing, I wasn't sure about it because I didn't know how it worked or why it worked. Guess what? I still don't know why it works or how it works. I just know it does work. If you need a new piece of lifting gear, if you need an underbelt for strongman or powerlifting, if you need just a belt to go through some strongman training or some kettlebell swinging or some calisthenic training or running, the breath belt is your tool. It's going to give you the support you need in the comfort that you're going to need, and it is the way to go. I promise you. Check it out, thebreathbelt.com. Use the code SAVAGE20, all caps, SAVAGE20 at checkout. Today, before we get going, let's talk about the online programming. Online programming, this is the way we do it, guys. So every Sunday night, we release 6 programs. We have a power program that is geared towards throwers, football players, Highland Games athletes, anyone who needs to be explosive. We have the Getter program, which is all kettlebells and body weight exercises. We have hard style, which is all body weight exercises for those of you who are stuck in their homes or just don't have a lot of equipment or don't feel like using equipment. Hard style. We have the Primal program, which is our gym program that we do every day at Blind Dog. We have the Foundations program, which is great for young athletes. It's going to get them strong in functional movements and overall just stronger and in better condition for athletics or just to get them in shape. And finally, Showtime. Showtime is our golden era old school bodybuilding program that I think you're really going to love. For $40 a month, you get access to all 6 of those programs. And now we are starting a personalized program. So if you need personalized online virtual training, give us a call. We have prices available. They are not exorbitant. Guys, I only put these prices together for stuff that I would pay. So if I'm not willing to pay the price, I'm not going to ask you to. Give us a holler. We will program for you. Take all the guessing out of this, and let's do a good job, get you ready for whatever goals you want to achieve. Now, finally on the show today, Jim Wendler. Second time on the podcast. We had a blast doing this one. We talked about everything that's going on in the world today, and it was just fun, man. I love talking to this dude, and we had a good time, and went for like 2 hours, and it was great. Jim Wendler, for those of you who don't know, he's the creator of 531, former 1,000-pound squatter. He is, most importantly to him right now, a father, but he's also the strength coach at London High School in London, Ohio. And if any of you guys know about that program and the turnaround they've made, you know what a good job Jim's done with those kids. And it's great. It was a fun conversation. I look forward to doing this again, and I am so psyched to be able to get it to you. So if you like this, go ahead and share it with a friend. And go to our iTunes page and give us a like, a share, a comment. Guys, please, we ask you, it's not that much. We're never going to charge for this podcast. But please, go ahead and leave us a comment. Leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd be really, really happy if you did that. All right? All right, guys, without further ado, here's Jim Wendler. See you.
Out.
Yeah, so it was, there's like a leather, it looked like it might have had netting, but there's like a leather headband.
Okay, all right, so that's how they kept it on.
Yeah, you still see the sweat stains on it and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was by Americans, thank you.
Right.
It was sure. Well, they're using Africa, so everyone was sweating.
Yeah, it was probably a little warm there. But yeah, I did some research. I looked at the beer stein, and it was carved with K. Ulrich. And I looked up K. Ulrich, and there was a Karl Ulrich who was a tank commander in North Africa. Whether he was the guy he got it from, who knows? But
there seems like Ulrich is like Smith or Jones in German.
That's what I was thinking. Who knows?
So who knows?
I'm going to tell everyone that, though.
You don't know Karl Ulrich, you pussy? You think you know history?
You know.
You know, there's one time when I was in college. This is when we were up in the training room. The Simpsons was on, and you know, Burns is like he's a secret Nazi.
Yeah.
And so someone had mentioned Rommel. You know, he was in Africa, and he said, Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. Now there's a man who could get things done. Our coach at the time, Dick Tomey, was called the Desert Fox because we were out in the desert and we had a brutal defense. And we laughed so fucking hard because he's like, dude, our coach is named after a Nazi, general. And then I haven't watched The Simpsons probably since college. So I guess it's still on. It's insane. Yeah. And I saw it when Burns goes back to his old alma mater, Yale. He's, disgusted by all the political correctness and all this stuff. And, he's getting yelled at by kids. And finally, one of the kids eventually calls him a Nazi. He goes, it's too late for compliments now. Too late for flattery now. You've dug your ditch. I even watched, I remember watching Family Guy and American Dad, and then they must have hired new writers like in the 9th or 10th season because it's horrible now.
Yeah.
I remember watching the episode, I didn't even smile or laugh once.
Yeah.
And it was like recycled jokes. It was like watching like a 80s sitcom.
Yeah, right. With the laugh.
So they're kind of mailing it in. So whatever. I don't know.
Dude, I can still watch.
What's that?
The only cartoon I can still watch is Archer.
Is what now?
Archer? Did you ever see
Archer? Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Dude, with him, first of all, we laughed, my wife and I, we watched that, and we haven't watched it in a while, but we always love how he loves crocodiles. They survived the K1 extinction or whatever. He's got all these, he's dumber and shit. And there was a couple, his love affair with Gator, Burt Reynolds, with his turtleneck.
Right.
And so every time I see Burt Reynolds, he's always portrayed as, and I love Burt Reynolds, as the, Smokey and the Bandit, which is awesome. Yep. But I'm like, dude, what about Gator era Burt Reynolds? He's forgotten. That's a great show too. Holy shit.
I made my son watch Smokey and the Bandit a couple months ago, and he had never seen it before.
It's good.
It's great. It's a great movie.
And it's almost like they said, Bert, this is your car. This is kind of the premise. Just do whatever. Man, he's like, all right. And then there's Smokey, and then there's another, the Cannonball Run series that he did. That was pretty good.
Captain Chaos.
I never. Go ahead.
Captain Chaos with Dom DeLuise and
yeah. God, Dom, how does he have a job? He must have pictures of people doing some fucked up shit to dogs and stuff. And then I don't know. Like I always laugh. It's like Steve Gutenberg. How does he get a job?
Yeah.
It's just anyway. We'll just talk about Germany the whole time, huh?
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah. So anything happened this year to you? Anything important?
It was. So
anything distinct or?
Did we last talk like right before all this craziness hit? I think it was like last January.
It was. I'm trying to think because it was fucking cold, but it wasn't. Yep. There wasn't. I don't know if there's snow on the ground. But yeah, it must have been because. Yeah, it must have been like January or February. Because when did the shit? Because we were on vacation when they closed everything down. We were like, "Fuck, if we go home," and it was awesome on the plane ride back. There was no one on there. Everyone just stretching out. And of course, I don't know if you know this, but the cart service—that's how you spread coronavirus. There's, like, give me my fucking soda, man. They suspended the drink service because of the coronavirus. I'm like, bullshit. Oh, bullshit. Yeah, I could lick everything in this thing. You guys can't do anything about it. But it's the can of soda you're going to get.
I love how you go to like Whole Foods or something and you can't have your own bags anymore because the bags could be carrying the corona.
Yeah, dude, it's an excuse to be like, listen, ladies, you got to take your top off. You don't know. You don't know. What are you, a scientist? Who's the doctor here? It's like you're doctor in English lit, buddy. Oh, they got to take that away. They say, I don't know, maybe... I don't know. I know you put MD after your name, but it always makes like one of my buddies got his doctorate and he got all high and mighty. I'm like, dude, you can't even fucking kill a squirrel without squirming. Like you got to cut a body open and not be like Dahmer or something.
They'll tell you all the time. I don't. They want you to call him Doc or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I don't know why I thought about this. I just brought out Dahmer. I saw a picture of Dahmer and it says, "No one tells me who I can't have over for Thanksgiving."
I sent that to three of my friends. I sent that out the other day. Yeah. So
it's funny because Cleveland. I don't know. I grew up right next to the town where John Wayne Gacy was.
Right.
He was in Des Plaines, And then Dahmer was just above, right above there. And I found out like Cleveland has the most serial killers ever.
Yeah.
And have you ever been, you're near Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who wouldn't be a serial killer here?
Just, how old are you, Mark?
I am 47, just turned 47.
All right. Because I watched that, not the stupid Netflix 8-hour special, The Irishman, but I think it was Kill the Irishman, where they're talking about all the bombs that went off in Cleveland, like in the 70s.
I had the guy who wrote that book was on the show twice.
Okay. We may have talked about this. It's because that, obviously during that time, that must have been just insanity. But now everyone's like, no one remembers anything.
Well, so the deal was, every old man around here, like my father's age, has a Danny Green story. If they grew up in the Cleveland area, they had a Danny Green story. And it was always him doing something, altruistic, bringing turkeys to people and shit. It was never he kicked my father's ass or anything like that. But when Perello did that book,
because everyone that could tell those stories is dead.
it's true. Yeah. So when Perello wrote the book and they turned it into a movie, the only thing that the family had a problem with was there was one scene where they drive by a cop car and throw a bomb into the cop car, and the family was like, "Oh no, that didn't happen." They were pissed about that. Everything else was fine.
Come on, that guy was a good guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
I haven't been to Cleveland. God knows how long. Is it since the Corona Bros closed everything? Oh, my internet can. There we go. Is it pretty desolate now, or is going to be?
They're. I don't know. I don't go in it that often. I know that the riots, when the riots were going on, we didn't get hit that bad. They had, kind of one organized one. They wrecked one part of the town that I kind of dig, this 4th Street, which is kind of like this section of bars and restaurants. They wrecked that. But other than that, they were, the crowds were kind of well behaved, and the mayor.
Right.
Strangely enough, the mayor didn't let him get away with too much shit. And, I know Columbus has been kind of crazy, but.
Well, we're so far out of Columbus that, but when I went to go get some ammo and stuff, and someone had broken into the gun store.
Oh, shit.
And they took like nothing. They took like a stun gun or something. It's like, Jesus Christ, like the rifles are on the wall. It's like, how dumb can you be?
Yeah.
And then just in our neighborhood, some Black Lives Matter people rolled through, and they weren't protesting. They just yelled at my wife that they're going to kill her. And all white people should die.
No shit. Wow.
Jesus Christ, man. And this, you've been to this town. It's as small and folksy. And whether or not it was just someone just trying to be a dick or not, like, we armed up, man. Like, I already had guns, but my wife was learning how to shoot. And, the thing is, like, my dad's not a gun guy at all. He never had any guns in the house. He never talked about it. And we didn't really need to. We were in the suburbs, and life was different. You know that.
Yeah.
And my dad even told me, he's like, dude, guns, the cops are minutes away when seconds count.
Yeah.
And that's not damning the cops. It's just first of all, they're stretched so thin. Like some of the kids that I coach, their dads are cops, and some of the calls they get is stupid. Like, the dog's loose. Like, that's not my fucking job. Like, come on. Or this kid hasn't showed up to school. Like, well, that's your fucking kid. So you deal with it.
And in a town your size, they got to do it,
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, we had someone try to abduct our kid. Some guy who was mentally unstable tried to get out of his car and take our kid. And I was right there, but I was kind of hidden. So I just ran out, and then the guy ran away. And the cops, they came out in full force. But again, that was 2 minutes later.
I remember that happening. That must have been like, what, a decade ago?
Yeah, it was probably, he is maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And they found out who it was. And like, the story didn't make any sense to me. I didn't really care because I was, you're so fired up, dude. Like, if I had my AR, I would have that car would have just been, it's like those movies where it just slows to a stop and, hits something. It's like
it's the fire hydrant.
Yeah. And, but it was, the funny thing that I learned about all that, besides child predators are fucking real, and they should be, all of them. Like, I know this sounds really bad, but I was reading this guy who's not even a father. And he's like, I'll gladly take the guilt and the pain of dealing with these people if you let me. Meaning, like, some of us have to step up,
right,
and take care of it, because they're I don't think there's anything more cowardly than harming a child, especially sexually, because I've done a lot of research into this, and when you harm a child, we have something wired in our biologically that they become predators too, because they don't know any better. And it's a weird thing. It's just like when women who have alcoholic fathers and they see all the pain and torment, and who do they go marry?
Yeah.
An alcoholic. And it's very similar. So it's an exponential problem. And I even heard a psychiatrist, and he made sure to talk about this in a cordial way. He said it's almost worse than murder, because if I murder you, your family's upset, but nothing really, but when you harm a child in that way, it exponentially grows.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, this guy was talking, he's like, I will take the burden of going to my grave knowing that I killed all these people or dealt with them in whatever way. He didn't make mention of it. And I was like, man, you talk about, like, I'll give you an example here. It's just very difficult, because even if someone breaks in your house and you have to kill them, like, fuck that guy for putting that on you. Now your whole life you have to kill that guy.
Yep.
And so everyone's blaming, oh, what a poor guy. He only needed to rape your wife. That's all he needed. It's like, dude, now I have to carry that burden. And even if you were justified in your killing, it still hangs on you. And you see it with, soldiers and PTSD, even if they're fighting for their lives, it still harms them. So anyway, this is going off on a tangent here.
That's okay.
But I have a huge issue. That's my one thing that and, rape. I don't mean like a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old girl having sex.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, that's the thing, is you have to have some common sense.
Yeah.
Deal with this shit. It's the
like, nothing's black and white, and I get that.
And that's zero tolerance is such a touchy subject. Like, if my son gets in a fist fight at school, even if he's defending someone or defending himself, it's automatic discipline. They have zero tolerance. But you have to be able to make decisions and be adults. And we've got to the point where parents are going to bitch about that. Well, he beat up my son today. Your son was preying on someone else, and they just fold. Right. I saw the other day they banned, California schools aren't allowed to teach To Kill a Mockingbird, Huck Finn, and Of Mice and Men, because
Lenny kills the squirrel or something.
Right. I guess a student had made a racially insensitive comment to another student and claimed that he had heard those words reading those books, and not from the million other places you could hear those words. You
mean like every modern song today?
Yeah. Right.
Jeez. Yeah, boy, there's one thing we really need to do is just limit our kids' reading.
Yes.
That's what they do, way too much reading. Boy, it's like when the Harry Potter shit came out, and the super religious groups started going on about how it's evil. It's like, really, do you think these kids got their wands out? And I've never read a Harry Potter book, so I can't really comment, but it was just really strange to me. Like, this is your one chance to really hook on to something and help the kids out, and they just fucking,
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing when the morning after pill got big in the early 90s when it came out. It's not an abortion pill.
Yeah.
If you want to stop abortion here, it works the same way as a birth control.
Right.
And it's like, don't you think you should be behind this? And it's like, well, maybe they're not there to stop abortion. They're just trying to control you.
Yeah.
But what's even funnier is now, like when we were growing up, the shift in political paradigm, like now the right is the guys like, listen, we want free speech. If you want to play death metal, go ahead and play death metal.
Yeah, right.
And it was like such a weird, bizarre, if you went to sleep at like 15 and woke up now, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You mean Cal Berkeley hates free speech? Like, oh, they fucking hate it. No one can talk about anything unless they talk about what you want to talk about. And that's even kind of limited.
Yeah, we were kids, I remember D. Snyder getting up in front of Congress and having to defend his lyrics and everything. The lyrics were so benign compared to what they are today.
I know.
If you play the records backwards, you'd hear Satan talking to you. And
I remember they played the Judas Priest thing because they went to trial. And they played the Judas Priest thing, and it's like, man, you could pick pineapple out of there if you wanted to, whatever word, seemed to. And the judge is like, are you guys kidding me? You just tossed the case. It's like, this is stupid. And I wish more judges were like that, at least. Like, come on. Like, these kids are mentally ill, you know. And what a horrible business model for Judas Priest, right? Their one album sells really good, then everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so crazy. You know, you're talking about guns when the election happened, and I've got guns around here, and you know, I can see two of them right next to me. But my wife.
You mean the ones you lost in the boating accident?
Yeah, right.
I have silhouettes of them. I don't know where they're.
Something. But the wife calls me from work and she says, "Hey, do you think we should have a shotgun for home defense?" And I was like, "I've been thinking about buying a new shotgun for months." I'm like, "Yes, honey, we definitely need a shotgun for."
You play it off like it's her idea. Wow, that's that's smart.
We went right out and got one. It was great.
Did you get? Is it a smaller gun, like a shorter?
Shells right here, you know.
Okay. All right. I'm always when we first started researching that, my buddy's like, "Listen, there's two things if you want home defense just to scare someone is either get the shotgun because everyone knows the pump sound.
Right. That's what she wanted.
Or a pistol with a red dot sight because it, you know, just me." And but when I was buying my first gun, I saw some shotguns, and there's some very short ones that were perfect for going through hallways and stuff.
Right.
Because you don't want like a, you know, 18-foot fucking gun just hitting the walls and shit. I don't live in a very big home. And that's the other thing. Like we go to the shooting range and some guys would be shooting their pistols, and I understand it now. But it was, you know, 60 yards, 40 yards away. I'm like, dude, what kind of house do you guys live in? Like, what do you guys do for a living that the guy's going to be? And now I understand, you know, obviously if you're out and about and stuff, whatever. But most of my practice for like the first 6 months was like 10 and 20 yards, just making sure I could, you know, hit a designated spot. But I even talked to some of the guys that do the courses, and they're all of them are like, man, everyone thinks they need some crazy tactical training. He's like, you just need the most basic stuff. It's just like when you learn to lift.
Yep.
You don't need this fancy this or that. Like you learn how to squat and pull and press. You're going to be okay for the next 20 years.
100%.
Really, you know, and I applied the same kind of logic with when I started shooting. Listen, I'm just going to practice. I'm not going to expect a lot. I'm not, you know, just like and I always laugh especially when lifters go to yoga and the yoga teachers kind of get all, or maybe not the yoga teachers, but the people who are into yoga. You couldn't even do this. I'm like, well, I didn't ask you to squat 600 the first fucking time, asshole.
Right.
Like, you want to start playing this game? One of us is going to get really hurt.
That downward dog isn't going to keep me in bed for a month, but you may get crushed by that weight.
Here we go. I warm up with 225, and so do you. What do I do? You'll figure it out.
Come on, Carol, get into that bar.
You ever see that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Danny DeVito trains the girl?
No.
Oh, he puts her under what appears to be 225, and she just plummets down. And he's like, you wanted to get it all in your back and your knees or something. And you really just want to jam it forward, just really hurt it. That's
that's a good one too. Did you get? I sent Juliet a link to the Peacock Network, which had all the shows on it that we had talked about the last time. So it's got Frasier on it, and Everybody Loves Raymond, and like Old Miami Vice and everything.
Yeah. Old Miami Vice. Oh. God, that was the opening song was killer.
It was the best.
Yeah, they did a good job back in the day. That was like, you know, now that I watch shows like the old shows, Seinfeld never really did it, and Frasier never. Breaking Bad was another one that didn't do it, but like the intros were like a minute long. Like you guys had 22 fucking minutes.
Yeah, right. And
I remember watching Band of Brothers. I don't know if you ever watched that.
You know, that's the World War II one, right?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the only problem is you have to watch it. You can't just put it on and just walk around. But their intro is like almost 3 minutes long. And which is awesome the first time you watch it. And then after like the 8th episode, you're like, yeah. I get it. There's
skip intro.
Holy shit. But yeah, when they took Frasier, we talked about Frasier, and I never was into that show. You know, it was very hoity-toity, and that's like the whole point.
Yeah.
But we talked about that. And I'm like, every episode, there's like 4 different variations of the same thing, and they did such a great job of. It was more like a play. That's what I felt like I was watching, and it was always like a Shakespearean kind of thing where someone thought this was going on over here, and they thought this person was doing this, and then everyone was all muddled.
Yeah.
And you watch it now, and it's almost like musicians saying, "Listen, you have to write verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, or outro, or whatever, and that's all you can do. You have to make it work." And you have to, so it was like a very limited format. And, because what is Frasier really exists in maybe 2 places, like the studio and Frasier's house.
Yeah.
There's a few other places here and there. And it was just amazing. Like, all right, this is what we got. Like, let's just make it happen. And, as soon as Daphne and Niles got together, the show was off. And I think they knew it too. You know, it's, but yeah, it was like, I think 7 or 8 seasons where Niles was so fucking pathetic. He's so good.
Yeah, he was great, man. It's funny because you watch that network and it's got all these shows, from the 90s and that Cheers and all this stuff, and Everybody Loves Raymond and stuff, and you see these super politically incorrect topics, and then they break for a commercial, and it's the most PC bullshit, pandering commercials you'd ever want to see in your life. And I'm sitting there going, who the fuck, what social justice warrior is sitting down to watch, Cheers and then thinking, I'm going to watch Amber Ruffin's show after this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be complete. I don't even know who Amber Ruffin is.
You don't need to know. She's a horrible comedian.
Okay. Like we have a rule in our house where no one watches commercials. So if a commercial, like if we watch a football game, for example, I will record it, and then everything gets fast, and we'll watch it like an hour into it or a half hour.
Yeah.
And when my son first came here, my oldest son lives in Texas, so when he comes here to watch football, he's like, "Dad, the game's starting." I'm like, we got 45 minutes, kid. And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Just trust me." And then after the first game, he's like, "Dude, this is so much better. You don't have to wait around." And I'm like, "Yeah, it just works itself out better." But even if you're watching something online, we mute the commercials. It's just some of the stuff that they say, man, it's just weird. And it's okay for me because it just goes in one ear and out the other. But when you got a kid in the house, man, you don't want them hearing some of that stuff. They're talking about like weird medication that he doesn't need to know about,
Yeah, and speaking of that, people are so wigged out about going to a gym and swinging a kettlebell, but you're listening to some of these medications that they're taking, and like I hadn't had we haven't had cable TV in forever, so I've been watching Netflix or whatever, and we switched over and started watching this Peacock network. They started playing the pharmaceutical commercials. I'm like, holy shit, who would take that medication? I'll stay with a little.
I'll just have tuberculosis, thank you.
Yeah, I'll stick with the eczema. I don't need to have anal bleeding.
Well, you can thank the lawyers for that one.
Yeah, right.
I always find it funny. You can advertise a product that you can't even give yourself, but you can't advertise, a pack of smokes.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I don't really care about that, but man, with all the money behind the tobacco industry, you could have some great commercials.
Yeah,
trying to justify smoking.
Yeah.
Dude, it must have been awesome, man. But
yeah, you get to watch those old movies and everybody's smoking. Every single person.
There's like I think remember Angel Heart? I love that movie. Like that movie. If you ever watch that movie again, the entire time you're just humid because it takes place in New Orleans and like the fans barely move, and he's Mickey Rourke is always smoking. That's when Mickey Rourke still had a face, and boy, is that a great movie. Remember Lisa Bonet got booted. Ironically, Bill Cosby thought that was bad.
Because that was like the first NC-17 rated movie, right?
Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, that got a lot of, it wasn't just like I said, the fact that Bill Cosby thought that was bad. I mean, there was never been a bigger fall from grace. I mean, he was America's father, you know, and then you find out, holy shit, dude. Years ago, there was a Temple was undefeated, and then Notre Dame came to Temple and they had college football game day at Temple. It was the first time, obviously, ever. And the signs in the background about Bill Cosby were awesome.
Really?
Awesome. I mean, brutal. And so after every commercial break, you notice that certain signs were gone, and that the kids had other signs. And they had the Bill Cosby's, they had a picture of Cosby referencing that, don't worry, I'm the one that made all your Gatorade for the game. Something like that. It was just one Bill Cosby joke after another. And then obviously people went to the crowd, whoever the producers and stuff, and took them down. But, I thought Tiger Woods' fall from grace was huge, but at least he got back up.
Yeah, he I don't know if he still plays as well, but he bounced back pretty quick,
Yeah. Well, when Kobe Bryant passed away, my oldest son, he only knows Kobe the Great.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, Kobe Bryant for like 3 years was the worst. Everyone fucking hated him.
Yeah.
Like, I remember driving somewhere and hearing that, he lost all his like Sprite sponsorships and everyone. And it's like Michael Vick too. He did a great job of at least publicly reforming. So, I don't know how that works. Like, they deem your apology okay. Like the anointed few on social media, just, we give you our blessing. But yeah, with Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods I don't know. It just seems like a really.
Was he just like sending dirty text messages to some waitress or something?
Yeah, and there's some, obviously he cheated on his wife, but
yeah.
Bill Burr had the greatest comment about that. He said something like, all these fat pieces of shit, sports newscasters with their jowls, his what did he say? His actions are reprehensible. It's like, dude, like, you even know the amount of temptation that Tiger Woods, after he finishes the 18 hole, there's a busload of girls that come out. You walk out to your lonely Prius in the snow. Like, you wouldn't even know. That's when, Bill Burr had he did like a whole year where you could see it, where him and Louis C.K., they test out their work on like Conan show and stuff. Yeah. And then they piece it all together.
Right.
They work it out for their big special. But he had a big thing about the epidemic of gold digging whores in this country, ruining great men like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
He's like, do you think that maid got on top of him because of the because of his 80s flat top, or was it the kindergarten cop money that was rolling around? You could hear, like, whenever he was on like a show, everyone's asshole just puckered up.
Well, and so Bill Burr's great because Bill Burr doesn't give a shit. He'll say what he wants.
Yeah.
He'll attack him, and he's just like, fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, Louis C.K. in his comeback, he did a special in Jerusalem, or did a big performance in Jerusalem. He made some Auschwitz jokes. And it was like, oh my God. And dude, the crowd went ape shit wild, funny, laughing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, boy, you talk about a pair of fucking balls on that guy.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to go see Louis C.K., no matter where you are, you're going to get ripped.
Yeah.
You're going to be but of all, like, that took the biggest pair of balls I've ever seen. Like, of all the places to do an Auschwitz joke. And looking back, it really wasn't that bad, but just bringing that shit up, you can't do that. And
quick guts for sure.
It's funny too, because I'm sure you remember, you grew up in the Cleveland area?
Yeah.
See, where I grew up, there was a huge Jewish population. And so, like, we got all the Jewish holidays off. And so you kind of just grew up. I thought everything was like, fucking Des Moines was like this too, right?
Yeah, right.
And so, like, we got, we always learned about the Holocaust, and we always learned, never forget.
Yeah.
And then you see what's happened in China. It's like, boy, they conveniently fucking forgot what they're doing to people there.
Yeah.
The sect of Muslims up there. And holy cow, it just scares the shit out of me, man. We went to war for that shit. I mean, that wasn't the reason we went to war. But thankfully, we I don't know. For all the atrocities committed by the Allies, it was certainly worth everything, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just listening to Carlin's podcast.
Dan Carlin?
Yeah, Supernova in the East he's doing, and he's getting to the point where they drop the bombs on Japan. And, you know, that's always the line was that, you know, we didn't need to do it. They were done. The problem is they were arming every man, woman, and child on that island. And we're not going to give up. I mean,
we got roasted in the Pacific.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you think everyone ignores Africa, and everyone ignores the Pacific except for the you know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But I went to MacArthur Junior High School, so you know, he had that great corncob pipe and the sunglasses, and you're looking out over the bow of the ship or whatever the fuck he was doing, and then you realize, Jesus Christ, he was horrible. Like, and I don't know if anyone could have done any better, because I'm not saying I could, but you know, he has a lot of, you know, he didn't do it. He wasn't as good as everyone thought he was. But I don't know if anyone would have. What's that?
He had a great PR machine.
Yeah. Well, he had the whole United States government behind him.
Yeah. That podcast was pretty amazing, talking about island hopping and the atrocities that the Japanese were committing, and you know, the soldiers finding their buddies, you know, raped or beheaded, or you know, it was. And they were arming the whole country to fight to the death. You know, they weren't stopping.
I read something the other day, like, why we didn't need to drop them. They were going to surrender anyway. Like, do you really know? It's 2020. You tell me the emperor was going to.
Well, that's what Carlin was saying, was that you know, the military leaders were like, yeah, we should probably surrender, and the emperor was like, no, I'm going down. You know, we're fighting to the death. So.
Yeah. Well, he's not fighting. Yes. I saw it was might have been like a city council meeting in New York, and it wasn't like a New York City. It was probably a small town or something like that. And one of the guys was a cop, and he was addressing the red flag laws. And he asked the whoever was kind of making these laws, or not making them, but proposing them, are you going to be into the door too? Are you going to kick in the doors with us? Because you're not the ones going to die.
Yeah.
And of course, they're never in the door. You know, and I always, one of the things that I try to do with our kids is I try to set a good example, so that I wrote an article about this, but I demand the same kind of discipline out of myself, training wise, as I expect from them.
Yes.
And even in their daily life and stuff like that. So, while I might not be able to, you know, play 80 snaps in a game, for what I can do, I try to have that same discipline, because if you don't, I swear to God, the kids can smell it.
Yep.
And I think people can smell it too.
Yep.
And the more that I thought about this, what person in Congress, the Senate or the House, or even in the federal government that, you know, well, there's only one guy we really appoint in the executive office, but like, who would you want to lead you?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, really, they're not our leaders, they're our servants. And I thought, well, I'd probably follow Dan Crenshaw.
That's the only one I was.
You know, there's probably a few others that I don't know, but I was like, my God, they're all fucking weak.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember in the movie Braveheart, when the Lords of Scotland, it's about mostly towards the end of the film, maybe whatever, and William Wallace says, you're all too busy
fighting for the
scrap Longshanks. Yeah. And I was like, when we, as a business, when Trump was elected, our taxes went from 41% to 21%, which is fucking retarded. I mean, and I was so happy, because I don't think the federal government should get a fucking penny from us.
Right.
And then I was like, well, Jesus, I'm happy that the government's taking 21%. I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then, so I realized that's what I was doing. I was like, oh, thank you, Longshanks, for giving me a scrap of land. I have no freedom.
You think about the elections and elections in general for the presidency, and what we're doing when we're electing presidents, and this myth that, you know, the right and the left, and I'm on this team and that team.
Yeah.
You are electing one group over the other, and you're electing these people and giving them the power to kill you legally,
Yes.
kidnap you legally, steal from you legally, enslave you if they institute a draft again. So you're saying, okay, I want these people to be the only ones that can legally kill me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What I mean, the waving the flag and saying, "Oh, we're free,"
Yeah.
we're more free than some people.
Yes.
But we're not free. There's still a shit ton. I mean, try to collect rainwater on your roof and see if they don't come down and bust your balls about it.
Like they just finally made I think they passed a law here in Madison County where you can own chickens on your land. Yeah. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? If I want a fucking cow on my land, if I want a dragon here.
Yep.
And that's, the rainwater thing was, and what's amazing to me is like it was illegal to do that in Wisconsin. And I've been to Wisconsin. Have you been to Wisconsin?
Yep.
Like who's making those decisions? Because everyone I know in Wisconsin ain't following that shit.
No.
I don't know who's making all these laws and stuff or who's elected. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's but it's for all of our faults, obviously we are the most free, but we're the only country that I think has freedom of speech, like written into the Constitution.
Right.
And then, but we have groups of people that want to get rid of our freedoms. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're never getting them back.
No.
Ever.
One of my biggest concerns with the whole COVID thing is, we just all rolled over because we got a little bit afraid, and these guys are not given that power back.
No.
And this isn't going to be a one-time thing. COVID goes away, then they're just going to use this again and again. Oh, look how quickly they folded.
Yes.
It scared them a little bit.
It scares the shit out of me. And that's one reason why I'm very happy that where we live, for the most part, no one really, some people comply, if you want to call it, but if you don't comply, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
My wife got, after, how it was 2 weeks of 8 months to flatten the curve.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so she finally got yelled at by some dude for not wearing a mask, and she just sat there. She's like, I don't fucking care. Like, just say whatever you got to say, you asshole. And, but, like I've been on, I think 6 plane flights since all this shit came out, around kids 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Not counting my own. I've been to, 4 or 5 different states, and I've worn a mask probably 4 times that I had to. Even on the airplane, I put one on and then I would just take it off. Oh, we got a delivery.
Got an Amazon.
No one ever said anything to me.
Yeah.
And like if I don't have COVID, I don't know who does. And like the other thing that, like my parents, they're coming here Thanksgiving, even though they're from Illinois. Woo! brave souls, right? And but with them, they're 75 and 73, and they take great care of themselves, but they're very paranoid, and they should be because they're part of that group. But quarantine is when you house sick people.
Yes.
When you basically house healthy people, that's tyranny. And it should be, and I understand, like, you should take precautions and all this other stuff, but what they don't understand is, you give an inch, they're going to take a mile. And it all, like, there's, how long we've been recording history, like 4,000 years. Like, it's never not happened.
Yeah.
Ever. There's never been a guy like, you know what, for just a little bit, we're going to do this. And then don't worry.
I'll give it all back. You'll be fine.
And I can't tell you the amount of people that I know from Australia or England who like, dude, don't ever give up freedom of speech. Don't ever give up your guns because you guys will be fucked. And especially with a superpower, man, with all the money and the power behind it. And I told my kids, I said, there's one of the big reasons why no one wants to fuck with us is because everyone's armed.
That was one of the things during World War II. I remember there was a discussion between Hitler and Hitler, and they said every grandmother in America has a shotgun waiting behind her door. Be a bloodbath.
And when I went to I can't remember. I don't know if it wasn't Jamaica. I went somewhere to some island resort. I can't remember what it was called. It was like Jamaica. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And I was talking to one of the ladies that was working at this hotel. It's like a beautiful hotel. We didn't stay there, whatever. And she's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Ohio." She's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Are you around a water? Like, there's lots of water?" I'm like, "No, there's like a creek." And so her whole life, there's wherever, I can't remember where we were. But there's like 800 different islands, and you're basically surrounded by water all the time. She was like, wow, there's no ocean. I'm like, no, it's just the way it goes. And then she was asked, she's like, what about guns? I'm like, yeah, everyone's got guns. And she's like, really? So I'm like, yeah, like everyone, like where you live, like you can leave your door open there's always going to be something that happens. But she's like, wow, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, no one takes anything.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows, like, yeah, I'm not walking in that house. And, but it's funny because when we go out shooting, like one of my good friends, Jason Pegg, will usually go with me, not all the time, but some of the time. And we're loading up my back of my truck, and there's, 2 or 3 ARs, fucking bunch of pistols, just walking out, just put them in, people driving by, cops, hey! And it's like, it's got to be surreal if you're from out of the country. And I'm very, Americans get a bad rap a lot, and it's mostly because of our foreign bullshit. Yeah. Which, drives me bananas too. But I had a friend visit from Australia one time, and he rented a car, and they gave him an Explorer. They thought they'd do him a solid and give him an upgrade. He was scared to death because it was such a big truck. Yeah. And at that time, I was driving an F-350 with like a 10-inch lift. It was a fucking giant truck, 8-foot bed, and 40 tires and stuff. And I like, dude, come on, drive it. I'm like, he's like, he almost freaking out. Yeah. I'm not going to drive this thing. And have you ever been to like Europe or anything?
Iceland is okay. Kind of Europe, I guess,
Yeah. When I went to Europe, like the streets are fucking tiny. Yeah. Like, because they're still made for the old days. And everyone's car's fucked up, like on the sides, like the rear view or the side mirrors are all damaged. And, when I got back to the States, especially near where I live, like you're just driving, this is my land. And I like living with land, man. It's an amazing thing. So I'm very thankful for where I was born. I understand that we were born with, and that's why I hate when people take that shit for granted, because we do take it for granted. What freedoms do we have? I see what they're doing to people in New York City with like the Orthodox Jews. They're closing down, and their synagogues and stuff. And it's, I'm like, do you guys not? I mean, if all the places that should never forget, it'd be New York City. Yeah. And as far as the Jewish population there, and I'm glad they're fighting, man. Good for them.
And that's what it takes. People are not putting up a fight. We were part of that lawsuit against the governor and Amy Acton when they closed down fitness centers, and and I don't know why more businesses don't jump on that lawsuit and say, hey, well, you can't close the gyms down. Why are you closing us down now? And there's such a push now, instead of taking back your freedom and standing your ground, all you see is commercials, for Target, where everybody's wearing masks, or everything has non-person to person delivery of things. And it's just like everyone just shifted gears and said, okay, well, we'll just make money this way now, instead of saying, fuck you.
I know.
Go to my store without a mask on. It's fine. Stay away from people. You're going to be okay. And if you do get this, 99% of the time, you're going to be fine. Yeah,
it's something like I saw a guy go, I don't know where he was, somewhere in California. And he asked people, what do you think the mortality rate of COVID? And people were like 20%, 30%. I'm like, dude, that's like the Black Plague.
Right. Bodies in the streets.
Yeah, it's the thing that I think that gets lost in the message is people think that guys like us are not caring. It's like we're not caring. We should take care of those people. And they do have a right to have that kind of care, but the rest of us need to work. And man, it's like we just we just found out that Friday, this upcoming Friday, is officially when everything is done. No more school,
Right.
no more sports in this town. And it's like, I thankfully my wife and I work from home, but what do you do if you're a parent? And it really puts you in a shit situation. And I don't even know if any of these people that make these laws, I don't think they give a shit. Like, you see what happened in California.
Yeah.
And, he's out eating with his buddies with, what's his name? Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And, someone asked him about a question about what are you going to do? All these people are leaving. And he barely answered it and was just talking about a couple from that moved to Salt Lake City. I'm like, that was your answer? You knew someone that moved out?
Yeah, it's and then you're right. They talk about, well, you don't care. We do care. My parents are in their 70s too. My son.
I'm not going to lick my parents. How about that?
Right.
How about we agree?
So my son was exposed, quote unquote. He was friends with a kid who got COVID, and they ate at the same lunch table.
Yeah.
So technically, now he's in quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yep.
He's fine. He's swinging kettlebells in his bedroom. But, we told my parents he's not going to come over for Thanksgiving,
Yes.
So we are taking care of our own people. And
yes.
We're perfectly capable of doing that. And everyone should be capable of taking care of your own people and your own circles. And for daddy to come down and say, okay, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
And now we've gotten to the point where we're looking at these people. It used to be a big, like, who cares? I didn't know who the governor was until all this shit broke off. No one gave a fuck. And now it's like, holy shit, this stuff matters who you elect,
Yes, it does, especially locally. The one thing the greatest quote I ever heard about our government was, they're the kind of people that will break your leg and then give you a crutch and say, see, didn't I help you? It's like, come on, man, really? And when the first lockdowns came about, obviously they closed down the training and stuff. And I was like, well, all right, kids are coming over here.
Yeah.
So we had 5 or 6 we had about 10 kids, 15, I'm sorry, train at different times. And the kids fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Because they before that, for about 2 weeks, they couldn't go anywhere. And this is when everyone was like, full blown panic. And I'm like, man, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And so for like 3 months, the kids came over to my house 5 days a week. And part of it was just they wanted to get outside.
Yeah.
Because, I think vitamin D is important, but I don't know. Is that important?
Yeah.
And health? Is health important? I wasn't sure.
You think?
But what they would do is they would train for, like, let's say, an hour, and then they would hang out in my garage for 2 hours.
Right.
Because they just wanted some human contact and stuff. And all those kids that came, once the season was over, now granted, we did some retardedly stupid workouts. I'm like, fuck it. Like, you don't have to recover for anything.
Right.
And I mean, I'm talking, some stupid prowler stuff, some insane circuits, whatever we could to pass the time, basically. Because you got 5 days of training. There's only so much you could do in a garage.
Yeah.
And they all say that was the greatest memory they had of football.
That's awesome.
And now if you ask them back then, and so that makes me realize that what we did was right. And we had a few complaints, never obviously to our faces. We had some people high up that took care of us, so to speak. And most of the people didn't care.
Yeah.
There's always a few, there's always the assholes who are the loudest. They're the fewest. And, but I was very proud of how not just our, at least the football community and the sports community came together and said, you know what, this is still important. These kids still need to do this. And, I don't know. I was very proud of my community. I really was.
Yeah. It's a hardier bunch down there too. I mean,
well, we're so isolated.
Yeah.
And, and what always killed me was we go to like Walmart or Kroger and you see someone like, you definitely wasn't from the area. Like, no. You don't get our steaks, buddy. Go back to your own shithole. You voted for that stuff. I feel like even if can you imagine being in Oregon, in Portland, and your business is getting ransacked all the time and you didn't vote for this?
Yeah.
Like, if you voted for it, I don't know if I really have that much sympathy because he knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, God, like you just get screwed, man.
You're paying taxes for them to screw you over, not protect you, lock you down. That's what we're looking at property right now. We're moving. I said, as soon as my son throws his last discus, we're out of here.
Yeah.
So it's 2 years, but my wife's looking at property to buy right now in Tennessee, mountains of Tennessee. We're looking at having the next training center on property.
Wow.
Just a whole, inclusive. We're talking fitness center, jujitsu places, jujitsu, saunas, the whole 9 yards, but it's all going to be on property. She's into gardening. She wants to have like a crop, so it's like, we're not gonna pay to have a government fuck us, it's ridiculous.
Are you guys like in a suburb, so to speak?
Yeah.
Is are you pretty close to Cleveland or no?
About 30 minutes.
All right. So you guys are well off. All right. Our youngest son is 9. As much as I would love to vacate, it would ruin him socially, and he needs that kind of, the problem, my wife talked, we had a little this is our little disagreement. It really wasn't a disagreement. She's like, everyone that's leaving these places, we need people to fight. I'm like, well, you're going to fight a battle you're never going to win.
Yeah.
And you see what happens. Like, I see people in Texas freaking out because they don't want the people moving there and voting for the same bullshit. And apparently the election was, at least in Texas, was they didn't necessarily vote for the way that everyone thought they would.
Right.
It's funny because Beto O'Rourke, you know who that fool is?
I know the name, but I don't know him.
He ran against Ted Cruz, and the Democratic Party spent a boatload of money to try to get him elected, and he almost did, but Ted Cruz ended up winning. Well, Beto is a staunch advocate of taking away all your guns. It's like now what Beto doesn't tell you is he actually broke into someone's house when he was like 20 years old, and
Yeah, the reason why you have guns.
Yeah, and I love telling this story. My oldest son lives in Texas, and so there's always Beto O'Rourke signs up. Back when he was also running for president, but he pulled at like 0%. And anyways, so kids, toilet paper their friends' houses, or do whatever, bring the door ding dong ditch and stuff like that. But one of the things they did to their buddies was they would get as many Beto O'Rourke signs and then stack them in their buddies' houses. And I laughed because that's like the sign of horribleness. It's like, oh man, you like Beto. And I'd laugh so hard. And I didn't, nothing, and this was never talked about or brought up. He's like, oh yeah, everyone knows Beto's a turd, And he's not even like well schooled in politics, so to speak. And they just know. I was secretly very proud of my son.
Right.
And it's, people can say, what they want about all that stuff, but it's just kids being kids.
Yeah.
And that's been how we're talking right now. Zoom is how I train my son now on Zoom. He sets up the camera, and then, and this is totally training related. My son loves lifting because I like it, and he plays football, but by himself, he probably doesn't really care too much about it. But he gets to hang out with me a little bit, and he puts on his earbuds, and we talk the entire time. And so when he lifts hard, but it's not like me and you. We're like, it's like life or death, and you get all those weird scenarios in your head when you're young. If I don't get this rep, everyone's gonna die, and then you don't get it. It's like, I didn't mean it, I swear. But anyway. So I've been training him, and we just started very light. We only do 3 lifts a session, whatever. It's nothing crazy. The amount of strength and size that he's gained over 6 months. After 3 months, him and I were talking. He's like, if I would have known it was this easy, I would have done this years ago. And I was like, really? Because all he's been has been consistent. Even through COVID, he's always had a place to train. And again, none of his sets are ball busters, nose bleeding or anything like that. And he's not insanely strong. He's just gotten stronger.
Yep.
And when I went to go see him play, I only see my kids that I train, and then I see him, and then I didn't realize the difference, how he looks now versus everyone else on his team.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yep.
And but the point being is, even with all this Corona stuff, all these people who have championed unhealthy lifestyles and then said it's okay to be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like you're the reason why we had to close down. If everyone, and I'm not asking everyone to be, who's that crazy dude that David Goggins, like you don't have to be David. Yeah. My son literally trains 3 days a week, or 2 to 3 days a week. And it's literally me and him making fun of, or talking football, or, bullshitting about whatever. And it's amazing what happens when you just give a little effort.
It's so, again, just like you didn't give a shit who the governor was.
Yeah.
It was always funny. My wife, was a CrossFit regionals game competitor.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
My son's in really good shape. And it was always funny, like, look at these fuckers in line at McDonald's and,
lecture to you about a mask. Okay, so now you're going to lecture me about a mask. Can I lecture you now about your choices?
Yeah, it's like now, it used to be funny that their choices were ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now it's affecting us. We've worked our asses off our whole lives.
Yep.
And now we're in the same boat because the fat ass next door to me can't put the cookie down and do a push-up once in a while.
Yeah. And it's so much bigger now than like we see, like we shut down our economy because people were unhealthy.
Right.
And then now, if you really want to get down to the splitting pubes, as I like to say, the amount of mental, because the one thing that Western society kind of gets wrong, there's always like this disconnect between the mind and the body.
Yeah.
Where like Eastern philosophy always has like it's all just one big thing. And the more, like I see it with the young kids I work with, as soon as they get stronger here.
Yeah.
And then they get stronger here. Now they can push harder here. Yeah. And they push harder here, then it's just a revolving door. And I think that if people did empower themselves with exercise, then I don't think we would have complied so easily, because people, like I never wanted to be, I could never have been like a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret. I just don't have that mentality. But I always think like, man, if we just capture an ounce of that with some of our population, and it has nothing to do with shooting a gun or anything like that. It's just, I will take responsibility. I have my team that I love, my family. Yep. Let's all fight together. And we talked about Sebastian Younger.
Yeah.
Like that still sticks with me today about, and about having your group that you will do anything for. And it's awesome because in sports, especially real team sports, like wrestling's not really a team sport, so to speak. But it doesn't matter who's on your team, what color they are, what gender they are. If they've shown to be valuable and work their ass off, you will fight for them.
Yeah.
And we got kids on our team. This is the greatest thing I ever heard. Was I talked to he was one of my favorite all-time athletes. And at the time he was a sophomore, and at the time basketball season was going on. He also played football. So I happened to see him during basketball season, and he looked a little down. I'm like, dude, what's up, man? He's like, I'm like, well, how's basketball going? He's like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, dude, what's wrong? He said, Coach, if you don't play on the varsity, then no one cares about you. He goes, with football, everyone fucking matters.
Wow.
He goes, Kyle Cutler, the head coach, he makes everyone feel like they fucking matter. It's like, as long as you give effort, they don't care if you're just barely, if you're just going to be a scout team player for 4 years, or if you're going to be the guy scoring all the touchdowns. And I was so proud of being part of something that it gives the kids some kind of empowerment. We got kids who, if they see the field, and now remember, this is small town Ohio. We have like 40 kids on the team if we're lucky. It's always like the same 11 guys that play both ways too. But it's some of these guys, even if they get a little bit of spot roll, like it'll be a great thing for them. But even then, some of the kids, I don't even know if they'll ever see the field. And I have the same amount of respect, and I will give them as much effort as they give me, kind of thing. And it's like, man, this is great. We're doing good things for the community. and just for these kids, wherever they go,
I think it's important. It's football in general. I mean, I was a track and field guy. That's what I loved, but I played football my whole life. And there's something about that camaraderie you get from that, fighting through something that just really sucks and working together as a team. And it's different than basketball or soccer or anything like that. I mean,
yeah. And I think it's different. When I went to college, it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it was at the time I went to college, and I told my son this too, my oldest son, it was just when it was out of the package for the first time. Oh, it's not about sports, it's about business. Like, it was still kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, but you could still, I knew when I got there, it wasn't going to be the same kind of thing. So I didn't have the same kind of, I'll step in front of a bullet for anyone here.
Yep.
But it wasn't until that I remember being on the field and we were playing Oregon, and we're on the goal line. I was in, and I had a block. Obviously, my job was to block, and I blocked one guy and I leg whipped another guy, which is incredibly illegal. But I got two guys in a short amount of time. I remember thinking, holy shit, I'm going to break my legs here. And I'm like, that's all right. We're going to score. That's what my job is. And I remember thinking, holy shit, I couldn't imagine in my head being like, yeah, I'll walk away with a broken leg. I'll never play, the rest of the season, but that's okay. And then, obviously people don't think that's stupid, but I'm like, that's what being selfless is, and essentially too, it's what I wish our leaders would do. They'd go out like, busting indoors, being the guy in the front line kind of thing. I just don't see them ever doing that. And,
as much as people, I mean, Putin's a horrible human being, but
yeah, that's exactly what's going through my head. At least he did something.
Can you imagine having a guy we elected who was a CIA operative and a judo black belt? And I mean,
basically Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I that's it's hard for me to understand how anyone because the president is the head of the armed forces or whatever his official role is. It's like, man, some of these, they can't even do a chin up. And I'm not saying chin up is a requirement of anyway, but I think it would be hard to get behind some of these guys. Even I wonder some of the generals like that haven't been in the shit for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, you're making these decisions? It's
hard for me to think that anybody who hasn't served in the military can be called commander in chief. And that's the guy who never served,
It's or at least not shown some kind of fortitude to do so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that part of me feels like I'm just forever going to be begging for scraps.
Yeah.
Once the election was over, we just said, let's not turn on the TV. Let's just live our lives. And I've been infinitely happier. And I have no control over what happens. And, it stinks. I just as from a family point of view, like, I don't want my sons to have all their freedoms taken away just because of some bullshit. So, and even, personal responsibility is not really a big thing. We got hit with restrictions on Facebook for mentioning responsibility. And I was like, and we got hit with something else because we talked about body weight training. And since we use the term body weight, we got hit too.
Jesus.
And obviously, it was just cued out of I mentioned the word, and it had nothing to do with anyone's body weight.
Right.
I wasn't cursing anyone, but yeah, that's how crazy it's been. So we got hit with hate speech, speech a couple times for, it was responsibility, like, be independent, stuff like that. So
yeah, social media is such, I mean, just a shit show in general. And I try to just post things on there and get the fuck off real quick. But I got hit over the summer for I was bitching on a post about Teddy Roosevelt. They had taken down the Teddy Roosevelt statue in front of some museum, and I got banned for a week.
Yeah.
It's a president of the United States.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. And I think my wife just signed us up for Parler, which
I'm on it.
apparently they don't censor. I don't even know what kind of platform it is or what it is. So we just signed up for it because we got our Twitter taken off too. Twitter took us off. And I don't know how that
is everyone's.
I've never even been on Twitter, by the way, ever.
Yeah.
My wife just
spot
puts
on
articles up. So whatever.
It's everyone bitches about Instagram and Facebook and that stuff, but everybody's staying on it.
I know.
The only thing good about Parler is that they don't, as of
Censor
right now, don't censor you.
Yeah.
So I got on there, took my name and put it on there. So I had it and,
Well, with social media is like me taking a sip of spoiled milk. I'm like, oh, this is awful. Here, you try it now. And I was very lucky because I got a lot of momentum pre social media, so I don't really need to invest a terrible amount of time. But even if I did, I don't know, like I don't like being part of that. It just seems really weird. And I remember when this was probably 10 years ago, I made a list. I don't know where it went, of all the things I could do other than go on social media. And it was like retarded. Like, learn this, do this, sit and do nothing. Just be alone with your thoughts.
Funny. You commented on something I posted a couple weeks ago, and I must have got 25 messages from people. Holy shit, Jim Wendler finally commented. It was something you said. Like, I know he never says shit on there. I'll say.
It's like it's like being a sexless marriage and you finally get a handy. Like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. It's like, dude, it wasn't really that good.
We've been waiting for him to speak for years, and finally he says something.
I still get some guy started I've gotten a lot better when social media, especially not even before social media, but when everything was coming out, when I was on EFS and stuff, and I started getting a little bit of traction, you'd always get a lot of people hating on you. We got a couple people hacked into our website, did some really crazy shit, and then when I was younger than I am now, like you defend, and someone would say, what do you say about this? And I'd get all defensive. And now, especially since I've been coaching and really just being hands-on, like I'm like, well, I know our stuff works. Like, so if you don't want to do, like, I'm okay. Like, I totally understand. Like, everything works, dude, to a certain degree.
Yes.
And once you start like believing in who you are and what you do, like I'm okay with other people, believing this. I'm like, all right. Like, I remember I was at a conference or a seminar, whatever it was, I was speaking, and someone's mentioned, what do you say to people that, and I don't remember what the criticism was. I'm like, well, then just don't do it. I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with that. And they were so befuddled. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and then recently some guy criticized how I train our kids. And I'm like, well, do you want to ask the teams we play?
Yeah.
Why don't you ask them about how ineffective the training is? It's how all those concussions and broken arms were responsible for.
Speaking of when you were on Elite FTS, I got to say, my favorite thing ever was you're still answering questions on there, and literally every day you'd get a question from somebody going, well, can I replace squats with one-legged lunges, or it was every day somebody wanted to replace one of the 3-4 big exercises you did with some ridiculous. Can I do a hip thrust on a Swiss ball? And you're always like, no.
Well, when I first started doing a lot of that stuff, I would always cave.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, of course you can. Like, you have to be smart enough to put it in and understand training, just like you are now. If you can't do this, you can do this, and you know what effect you're looking for. But at some point I was like, listen, man, you can't, again, it's like the government, you can't give an inch because they're going to take a mile. And pretty soon, it's just a clusterfuck of what, it's like playing telephone.
It's worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, just, it starts getting watered down. And then, but anyway, my patience just started wearing thin. And then I really thought, well, if you I really believe in these four things. Now, if you got like a shoulder injury or something, it's totally different. But it got to the point where I'm like, I was just so, I would say frustrated, but I didn't want to water everything down. And I remember like when I, being under Louis Simmons for so long, he never, now he was always changing stuff, and which is smart. Yeah. But he had a core belief system, and he's like, no, this is how it is. And, you know, the one thing I remember realizing was when you research like what the Russians were doing during the 70s and 80s and what the Bulgarians were doing in the 70s and 80s, they couldn't be more polar opposite.
Right.
And they're all winning gold medals and medals. Yep. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, yep. You got one guy's doing sub-max training, one guy we're maxing out all day. Yeah. You know, you figure it out.
Well, that's what you look at. I mentioned this on a podcast the other day. Boroshenko's had great champions, and Louis has had great champions, and they could not have two different systems from each other, you know. And so, I mean, as long, like you said earlier, as long as you're squatting, hinging, pushing, you really can't fuck this up unless you really, really try it.
And when I listened, when I was growing up, I loved Nebraska football. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you couldn't, if you were from the Midwest, and my dad was a running back, so I grew up, that's what I played. And the Big Ten was pretty much everyone ran, you know, two tights and a fullback and a tailback. It's like, let's just see what happens. And so Nebraska had a special place in my heart. When I listened to Boyd Epley speak, of course, he's, you know, fucking legend. Yeah. I heard him talk. This was probably only maybe 8-9 years ago. He's said it was probably like a hammer strength conference. He asked the crowd, he's like, what's your main goal as a strength coach? Because I really want you to think about this. And of course, you know, make our kids better at the sport, but I'm talking in the weight room. And he said something that just totally fucked me up. He goes, your goal is to put muscle on your athlete. Yeah. Now, before everyone goes crazy about this, you're talking about untrained people who have I'm not talking about the thrower, right, who benches 500, and they say, I love that when throwers like, dude, strength's not that important. Like, you could say that, you just bench 525 for a double. Yeah, like, yeah. Of course it's not. But if you bench 200 for a double, it wouldn't, you know. And it really changed my thought, because whenever our kids put on, as soon as they look like they're muscular, everything changes. Yeah. And so our big thing is, especially with the main lifts, we do those mostly, like I cut the reps down a little bit, because there's so much, I'm sure you don't know this. As soon as the kid's form goes to shit, it's just bad news. Like if your squat gets a little out of place, you know to rack the bar. Well, they don't have that experience. So we purposely err on the caution of way too light for that stuff. And then everything else is about building muscle and making sure that they are conditioned, just normal GPP stuff. We do a lot of calisthenics and stuff like that. But as soon as I heard Boyd Epley say that, I said, holy shit, we got to do that, because miraculously you get stronger that way. That doesn't mean you train like a bodybuilder. It means that your main goal is to put muscle on these kids. And most of these kids, like, dude, they're fucking twigs. Yeah. Yeah. Or they're overweight, you know, a little fat in some way. And even then they get faster without ever really doing any quote unquote speed work. That doesn't mean speed work is not important, you know, like running, but that really, you know, so we do you know, we'll do one sentence of training on this podcast. Yeah, right. You know, the goal is the main lifts, at least the squat and deadlift, are done for power. So I want them to be under control, everything somewhat explosive as they can be. And then all the assistance is done for higher reps. And we always do a ton of like jumping jacks, mountain climbers, 4-count burpees, like real burpees. Like I researched the guy, his name's like John Burpee or something. Oh, really? And yeah, dude, I did a ton of research on this, because what you see now as a burpee isn't what is a burpee. It's squat down, put your hands in the ground, kick your legs back, put your feet back, and then stand up. You're not doing all these, you know, jazzercise bullshit. Not that, you know, and then he got frustrated because of the popularity, because he's like, dude, this is not meant to be done for a million fucking reps. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do it. But for an untrained individual, it's a horrible idea. And then if you ever see someone do a burpee, they don't even do it. Like it's a half-ass, just like you expect from a squat, you know. But the point is the better we get at that stuff, miraculously we get better on the field too. And I'll never forget our head coach. His brother is also a head coach at another school, and of course, you know, I know him very well, and he's always like, dude, what are you guys doing? He asked Kyle, the head coach, his brother. He's like, can I come and watch a lifting session? And Kyle's like, yeah, you're welcome to come anytime. He goes, but it's not very impressive.
Right.
You know, it's really, like, we're not doing anything.
Handed out.
Yeah. But I will say, you know, we made the playoffs this year. We made it to the third round. We lost the team that we lost to we only lost one game in the regular season, and then we played them and we got beat. So we played on a Saturday because of fucking tornado ripped through here on Friday night.
Oh, Jesus.
Holy dude, I was in my truck because we had to vacate the field, and I just went to my truck. And dude, I drive a Suburban. This whole thing was just shaking. I was like, oh, I should have went into school. I'm like, there's no way I could have made it to the school in time.
Right. Yeah, now
anyway,
you're going across the park.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking go down. I put my seatbelt on. I'm like, fuck this, man. And so that was on. So we played on a Saturday, and then Monday everyone showed up for training.
Yeah,
we didn't even take a week off, and the kids were just right back. And what's awesome is because we're so consistent, we can train medium.
Yeah. Yep.
And just keep on going
all year round.
Well, this is what the Corona shit really fucks up. But we always miraculously we find a way around everything. So whatever.
Yeah, we had the local high school here that my son plays for sent us all their fall sports kids in June.
Okay.
So for 1 month, we had all these kids, and I was talking to the coaches. You know, we had like 75 kids coming through in different groups. And I'm talking to the coach. He's like, well, what are you going to do with them? And I'm looking at these kids. Now, my son's been lifting forever, so he looks good. The rest of them, I said, look, we're going to do a lot of goblet squats. We're going to do a lot of pull-ups and push-ups, and we're going to do sprints. And I said, but I'm not going to try to teach 75 kids how to squat properly in a month. It's just we're just
and there's one of you.
Yeah, well, there's two of us with 75 kids, and there's no way. We're just going to get them in the best shape we can, and then give them back to you so you can start training them in July. You know?
Yeah. Did you have them in one group, or did you?
No. We started. We had, I think, 6 sessions throughout the day. So on top of our normal 6 classes a day we have for the adults. So it was rough. It was a rough month, but a lot of goblet squats, a lot of pull-ups, push-ups.
Push-ups.
Yep.
That's how we, when I first started, I got the in-season JV, and my goal was by the time the off-season started, I wanted them fully ready to train. How I expected them. But we each trained, I think, for 6 weeks with push-ups and goblet squats. That's all we did.
Yeah.
The kids got they liked it, and then they fucking hated it. Then became a source of pride at the end. It was like going through basic training. We know what we're doing today. Fuck yeah. And because that's the only thing I could think of where I could put them in a circle and keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that always laughs is let's say you have 16 racks, and let's say you have 15 kids. They're not all going to be in the one half of the gym. They'll scatter. Like the kids who want to hide will go over here, and they're scared to death. I'm like, dude, no, everyone's going to be up front. I can't. You're not hiding on me right now. I don't expect you guys to be good. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I remind myself all the time is it'd be nice if all the kids loved training, but if they did, I wouldn't have to be there.
Yeah.
So
I offered to work with my son's high school football team this year once the season was over. He was like, "Nah, I'd rather you not."
The coach or your son?
My son. He's like, "No, Dad, I don't. We're probably a lot alike. There's no way I'm going to get through there without getting yelled at for being politically incorrect, or it's not going to happen."
Yeah, all it takes is one parent to get all upset about you talking about this or that, and then you have a bad day, and you're just fucking government.
Yeah.
Lousy. Yeah. I'll say something, but it'll be non-political in that, you need to take care of yourself and stuff like that. But I try not to. I mean, we live in a very conservative area anyway, so
you don't want to espouse any of those libertarian viewpoints.
Yeah, I know. God forbid that you take a responsibility for your life and health. No.
How is that not a more? It just shows the effect that media has on us. That libertarian beliefs and principles are looked at as insane, or the candidate gets. My wife voted for the libertarian candidate this year.
Okay.
And you just get what it's going to take is someone to come out. I don't know, like a famous type person and run under a libertarian ticket.
Yeah.
For this to get any steam at all. But
the only way, I think, it's just like what Ron Paul did. He understood, like, I'm not going to ever be elected. I think he ran under libertarian for a little bit, and I think it wasn't until he became a Republican that he was elected to the House.
Yeah.
But I think, and I always laugh because if you're just to the right of Marx, you're a Nazi. I mean,
right.
Or if you don't love Pol Pot and Mao. I love it because I was watching something on Pol Pot the other day, and he basically made a radio address that said, "Listen, 2 million of you are going to have to fucking die." And it was like, well, I mean, I admire his honesty, I guess, but I just still can't believe they hold these people with these beliefs in such high regard. It's just terrifying to me.
Yeah, Mao and the Che Guevara T-shirt, and it's like, do any kind of fucking studying at all? Do you ever heard who these people are?
People like mourning the loss of Castro. What a great man. Dude, it's funny because if you see a picture of like Cuba in like 1990, it looks like 1950.
Yeah.
All the cars are all fucking, just all from that era. Everything is just, and I remember Bernie Sanders one time made a comment about how much there's too many deodorant choices for Americans. And I was like, who are you? First of all, listen, old man, like, you ain't smelling fresh, buddy. And I was like, why do you care?
Yeah.
Like, why? And that's one of the things is someone went to Cuba, and they said, a lot of these products are made by the government, and there's sort of massive shortages, but there's only one kind of whatever it was, toilet paper or whatever. I don't know what it was. And they couldn't keep it in stock because the government is obviously inept about everything. And the other thing, when who was it? The guy from the Atlanta Hawks made a post on social media saying, "I stand with Hong Kong."
Yeah.
And he got ripped.
Yeah.
And then China pulled out all this stuff. China even said, if you people in China who had Hawks jerseys, Atlanta Hawks, like, we will buy them back from you.
Yeah.
And so he got, a bunch of shit. And then someone showed up to an NBA game, like 5 dudes that said, we stand with the, I think they're Urich or something, the sect of Muslims that's being imprisoned. And they got booted out of the NBA game for not saying anything, for having shirts.
Yeah.
And I was like, boy, what did Voltaire say? If you want to see who rules you, see who you can't talk about. I think he said something like, we can't criticize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Voltaire said that. And I was like, man, it's crazy. So.
And then you got LeBron and the rest of these NBA guys talking about, Black Lives Matter and but they're supporting China because that's where all the fucking money is.
Yeah. And it's, how do I put this? Like, the interesting thing is, like, what they're doing is the epitome of just like, I got to have all my money. And it's your family. It's your right to make as much money, but you can't criticize other people for voicing their opinion when you're not willing to stand up. And it's, when someone criticizes, I always laugh when someone says, we live in a fascist country. I'm like, dude, the fact that you're saying this and no one's killing you is proof. And then if you say something about China, like, shit's going down, isn't that kind of? I saw a real change when there was a great fucking movie called The Interview. It was with James Franco.
Oh yeah.
And very funny, especially if you watch the unedited version, which is way funnier, believe it or not. And then they wouldn't show it in theaters. Yeah. Because North Korea got all mad, and I was like, dude, it's America. Like, you should be able to, And I saw someone say, yeah, we're the land of the free, unless North Korea says something.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's great.
Oh, there's some very, I mean, some very, and we bought that movie as soon as it came out on whatever, digitally, or I don't know how we bought it, because I was like, well, I'm supporting them. Like, you know, they got, because they wouldn't release it in the theaters. And so.
Yeah. My thing is, you know, whoever's in president, whoever's been elected president, the other side automatically calls him Hitler.
Yeah.
They're the Hitler. As soon as you do that, I just stop listening to you altogether, because you don't know who Hitler was. You would never say that, because it doesn't matter how inept or how corrupt these politicians are. They're not fucking Hitler.
No,
you know?
No. I remember as soon as Trump and Pence would be elected, all the gays would be rounded up in camps.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, really? Like, I want to know, did you really think that?
Yeah.
And these are the same people who now want re-education camps for conservatives.
Right.
It's like, whether or not, you know, I saw a guy who worked with the Sanders campaign called for that. And then he said gulags were a good thing.
Yeah.
This was undercover. He's like, they were paid a living wage. I'm like, really? Really? You're gonna
yeah, when float that one? Gulag, it's probably pretty cheap, you know?
Yeah, because we're all living communally.
Right.
We're all busting rocks 18 hours a day.
Scrounging for rats.
Yeah.
You know? It's very inexpensive lifestyle. Not many vacations being taken.
I wonder if when Hitler came into power, if he would have known, like, listen, from now on, here on out, whenever someone is regarded as evil, they're going to be you.
Yeah.
You know? I wonder what Ava Braun would have thought about that. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to rethink this whole Adolf thing.
She's going down to the bunker regardless, right?
Like, how many old, like the History Channel, you know, the H is the symbol. Yeah. It should just be called the Hitler Channel.
Well, it's either Hitler or Ancient Aliens. It's on there.
And if you watch like the old footage from World War II, you never see any German guy with like the Hitler mustache.
No.
It was like either they realized like, oh, that's a pretty stupid look, or like they were so scared. But you think, like, you know, once their beloved leader, their Führer, adopts the style, you'd think it'd be more popular. But no, like
nobody ever did that. Nobody made that. It was before or since. It just went away.
And it's funny because, I mean, I'd love to see because obviously Adolf is a very German or Austrian name. Like, I'm sure no one's called that anymore.
No.
Even if you're, you know, 8 generations of Adolfs, like, listen, like, we're going to have to cut this one off.
You're not going to be Adolf the 10th. It's just not going to happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, do we solve the world's problems here or what?
No, we just complain like a bunch of bitter white men. What are you going to do? Dude, the one thing that I always think is like, Jordan Peterson talks about this, is, you know, getting your own shit in order all the time. And, you know, you feel helpless watching some of the news, and either you're informed or you're misinformed or uninformed. Like Denzel Washington said, I love that, you know? And then I realized, like, listen, I got a wife, I got kids, I got the kids I train. I'm like, that's all I can do. And you can make some big differences. And I'll never forget, I watched this lady get up talking about, someone said something like, well, the majority of people are peaceful. And she said, well, 19 people were responsible for 9/11.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot.
No.
And on that same token, it doesn't take a lot to make a change. And it may not be worldly, but it's my world. And I just concentrate on that. And, you know, again, it's all the bad things that could be done, like those 19 terrorists, or just one guy in London, Ohio. Hopefully I can have a good impact. You know, I don't have any grand things of immortality. Like, I don't want to leave I think a lot of people have that. Like, I want to leave this legacy. I'm like, dude, and I always laugh because there's been 45 presidents.
Yeah.
You can name like 10 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be remembered. I'm okay with that, but I'm going to have kids. I'm going to have kids I coached, and hopefully they take something away, or give them my best that I can. So that's the way I lived.
We can't change things in Portland or Seattle.
No.
I was just talking about this on somebody else's podcast a couple of weeks ago. But if we take our circles, we make it as good and as tight and as disciplined and as logical as we can, and my circle ends up touching your circle, and then that's the only thing we can do as people with moderate
common sense views.
Yeah,
I hope that I hope it catches on. I'm not so much worried about me. I'm worried about my kids.
Yeah.
And I tell my oldest son, I said it, I said this before, never advocate for less freedom, because it will never come back. They will always screw you. And it's funny, I was listening, I love God Sod.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he said something in reference, like, do we have enough evidence over the course of human history to think this way or this way? And he's like, well, governments are always going to be inherently bad once given too much power. I think we've seen enough, and I just don't understand how people don't see that. That scares me. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know why. I don't have an answer for that stuff. I think part of it is I didn't grow up in a big city.
Yeah.
Or, even when I went to college, that was just at the beginning of, some of this shit being taught. Now that I look back, I can see what people were saying in my, the professors and stuff. Now I'm like, Jesus, it must be even worse than ever.
There's no study of history. So people think all this shit is brand new, even with the COVID, every Hong Kong flu and the original SARS virus, and there's always a second wave. And so, I think we're in the second wave now, and people are acting like, oh my God, it's amping up again. If you would have looked back at history, you could see it was going to amp up again. And the second wave is usually worse than the first wave.
Yeah.
This stuff all just repeats. But if we keep taking away this history and not reporting it, we're ripping down statues, and we're going to forget all this shit.
I saw an anti-vaxxer guy say, I shit you not, why don't we give everyone just a little bit of the virus? And then we can develop immunity to it. It's like, man, you've gone full stupid retard. Holy cow.
Never go full retard.
I was like, all right, well, if you want to try that, I guess. But yeah, I would be, and I don't think that, I wonder if they're going to make mandatory vaccines, which, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we already do kind of have mandatory vaccines as it is, but I've only had the flu one time in like 15 years. And guess what I got that year? The flu shot.
This was probably 15, 20 years ago. I got the flu shot. I was forced through work, and I got the flu the next day. Fuck you. I'm never doing that again.
I had, here's my one, when I got the flu shot, it was at like Walgreens or, like a store. It wasn't at the doctor. And she was going to put it in my shoulder, and I have so much scar tissue from my powerlifting days, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any of that.
And I said, hey, can I do the shot? Because you're never going to get in there. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I've taken like 1,000 shots of test in there. And she looked at me, all right. She's like, you're fine. And it went boop, boop, and just popped out. Fucking blood everywhere. I'm like, just give me the fucking needle.
I've got this one spot in my tricep where it might work. Let's try it there.
Right. You're going to have to twist, and then I'm going to give me a mirror. I'm going to take a red light, and I'm going to shine it right where I think you might be able to hit it. Oh, sure face was. And then this is another story. I went in for a MRI on my shoulder, and the MRI tech or someone came in. It must have been a doctor, because the techs can't do this. He's like, listen, I got to talk to you about something. And he took me into a room, and I was like, oh shit, dude, this is bad.
I got cancer.
Like, yeah. He goes, your shoulders are littered with cancer. And this was like 10 years ago or something. And I was like, what? And I'm like, you mean all that scar tissue? He was like, oh, that's scar tissue? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh.
Oh, never mind.
Maybe you should have brought this up before you told me I was going to fucking die. I knew it was bad when he took me into a room. Like I was in the waiting room, just waiting for the disc or whatever it was.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, that's the second time I've been told I had cancer. Was the first time was I had Graves' disease.
Right.
And they did all these tests on me. And this was not in a hospital, it was in at camp, at football camp. This was like, in the desert somewhere, they lock you away. And
yeah.
The doctor's like, well, listen, you either have Graves' disease or cancer. And I didn't know anything about Graves' disease, but man, you couldn't give a worse fucking name to a disease in the world.
Right. Yeah, right.
It's like, it's Grim Reaper disease. Don't worry about it. It's not bad.
You'll be fine.
And I was like, holy shit, dude. I don't know what any of this is, but both sound like a horrible, horrible thing. And luckily I had Graves' disease, not cancer. So, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My experiences with doctors have been so good and so bad. And it's like, someone's got to graduate at the bottom of the class, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I had when I had my back surgery, my spine was so mangled but one doctor, she said, listen, you don't need surgery. All you need to do is eat more tilapia.
What?
It was fish and vegetables, she said. That was going to cure my back.
Oh.
And I just walked out of there. So she's now Dr. Tilapia. That's what we call her. And then I eventually had a couple other doctors read the MRI and they're like, dude, what did you do? Like, did you get in a horrible car accident or what happened? I was like, oh yeah, I did. But I just like how they could differ so much in a diagnosis is beyond me. And what are you going to do? I laughed at that though. Like, really, you think, and it's the same thing. It's like, I eat fairly healthy.
Right.
But, I still have, my back still gives me issues and people are always like, well, maybe, you always hear like, this will help. And it's like, dude, it's like putting like a Band-Aid on a damning river. Like you really think, like your bone sticking out. Well, some essential fish oils would help you. Some EFAs. Right.
Just put some CBD oil on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, when that guy breaks into your house, just talk to him a little bit. We'll send a social worker.
Send a social worker.
Can you, like, I remember when the Chaz was going down, the best thing about the Chaz or the Chad or whatever the fuck it was called was the first thing they did was build a perimeter, a boundary, and armed people with it.
Yes. Wait, we thought you didn't like that.
Did you ever see the community garden they built?
Yes. There's like cigarette butts and some rocks.
I'll never forget. I was watching this guy who was talking about it. It's like, listen, I don't garden. I don't know anything about it, but I know it's not that.
Nothing's growing there.
I know what it is, and I know it's not that. And I don't know where I was going with that one. Doesn't matter. But the gardening thing killed me. And then they had blacks only garden.
Right.
So it's such a weird world. If you ever want to watch something incredibly funny, there's a comedian named Ryan Long.
Okay.
And he does these short YouTube videos, but he did a video recently about why woke people and racist people are the same.
Right.
And it's him and his buddy, who's also a comedian. And one guy has like a shirt that says woke and one has a shirt that says racist. And they're just talking and they're completing each other's sentences.
Yeah, right.
And it's like two guys just out for like, strolling through the world, like all buddy.
Yeah.
And it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. His entire comedy is built on just ruffling feathers, but he went around to I don't know if it was the Women's March or something like that, but he went around asking people who had a better pair of tits, Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris. And dude, it was so fucking brutal. I mean, it's only like a 2-minute video.
Right.
The two women that they encounter, or 3 women, are so mad that they're like, we're not going to talk to you. And then for 2 minutes later, they talk to him. And he just keeps on egging them on. He's like, no, but seriously, the titties. I mean, that's. And I think he asked them if they have their periods, do their husbands get to rule for that month, get to take over their job for that week. He just says it all straight and, well, what's your opinion? Oh my God. Whatever. Yeah, most of that stuff like you don't want to put up on your social media, but he is unbelievably funny.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, and the woke and the racist one is brutal because it exposes the lies and it's like a weird full circle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, like we have black kids on our team, and it's awesome because I watch them training just together. Everyone's working together for the same thing. Everyone busts each other's balls about anything, and it's so nice to see that still around.
A little bit of struggle, that's all you need, right?
Yeah, and like there's obviously some of the kids say inappropriate stuff, and no one gets offended by it because they just shoot it right back at them, and it's nothing like my friends and I say to each other, which is horrible.
Yeah, someone never gets a hold of any of my text message threads to my buddy. Really, I'm done. I'm gonna have people protesting.
There was when my wife's like, God, when you and Peg get around each other, it's just one after another, and it goes down to a rabbit hole so dark.
Yeah,
and we end up just laughing. The worst thing would be like me and Peg and our kids together, because they would hear stuff that need not ever be heard. And whatever.
I love it.
All right, let's wrap this up, brother.
I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you doing it as always, and
thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, man. You're a good brother, man. I appreciate it.
You too. And after the next apocalypse, we'll do it again.
We'll be all Mad Maxed out with hockey pads on.
I'm waiting. All right, brother. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Take it easy, Mark. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.